Hey YouTube, Facebook, and all that good stuff. So last video that you probably saw, or the last video I posted, was of the four-wheel drive vehicles. So I've done a lot more work on the larger one, and wanted to show you guys how it looks now and what it's come to be. So I guess I'll do that. However, you can probably obviously tell that this is very wobbly, and I haven't actually done anything at all, really. I've just, in building this larger one, I've been forced to disassemble the mount that held that camera. So, yeah, my camera's just pretty much sitting in there in a cup, so, yeah. Anyway, I will show you what of it I have, and see what you think. So, here it is, so far. Still not done yet, but a lot more progress. It's a lot bigger. You can see now it has a cab. The winch is secured now into this little thing. I can't really show it to you very well, can I? So I guess I should try to get just a little bit more light in here. So if we look there, you can see the hook, which I'm not sure if it still had it or not, but the original had the small plastic hook, I thought, but I guess it might not have. I really don't know for sure. But yeah, it's pretty cool now. Anyway, so secured into this little thing here, which holds it at an angle against everything so that it doesn't take up too much space in front of the wheels. And I added in these little small wheels here that allow it to roll, so when the winch is active it works a little better. And actually I used to have it set up with a totally different battery. It was the battery that requires 6 AA's, and I decided that that was really a lot more than I needed when it came to weight, because after adding everything into this, it's really become a lot heavier as it is. So in taking that out, it still weighs just about as much as the prototype did, or the prototype chassis anyway, but it's a lot more solid now, and yet still it doesn't quite manage to hold itself up. That's just because of how heavy it is. But yeah, so this is the cab here that you're looking at, obviously. It's got a little lever here, and you push it and it turns the battery on. It just pushes the button on it, and then there are some things over here, and you flip the switch. That'll turn the headlights on. I don't have many headlights, I only have one pair of them, so that's them. And the other thing, which I will show you, of course, that is quite awesome about this is that it has, well, alright, you know what, I'll just start by showing it to you, of course. But, you know, while you're looking at the front, same controller as last time for the most part. So there's the winch. So usually it would be held like that. See, it kind of drops out of there. I changed the spool inside, so it's got a larger spool now, so it's got more string in there, which on a scale factor pretty much just represents rope, but that doesn't really make any difference. Anyway, so that's the winch as of now. Majority of the chassis underneath remains the same. So I'll start by showing you the modifications to the chassis. So on the bottom here, you can see that chassis is a little bit different. So now it actually, the wheels bent out so badly that I didn't have a lot to do with the alignment, so I had to take parts out and put new parts in. So now it's a lot harder to get into the gears, but I actually did replace a few of the axles inside and made them a little longer so that it's harder for them to slip too much. And so that's going to be really helpful, I think. And yeah, so I guess that's, yeah, I really don't know what else to say there, but yeah, so that's cool. The winch here, this area, is really incredibly robust and whatnot, but I guess I can try to show you this. Here, it opens like this, and then these axles are a little longer than they need to be, so then it's got this whole assembly, which is intended to hold these on, and then to prevent sway, it has these, which are located on the both of them, and they hold those into the axles, which kind of act as a tie rod, holding it closer to the body, which prevents the wheels from going terribly far out. Excuse me. But anyway, once you've done that, then you just have to pull on this and this, and I'm not showing you at all what you have to push on, but once you've done that, you've taken all those parts off, then you just open this little thing, just like you did on the original chassis. Yeah, so that's, see if I can actually get even more light, because that would be a lot better, of course, or just a better aim with that light. I really just don't know how to go about this, because this thing is just huge. But anyway, yeah, you can see the gear ratio in there. If you haven't seen the original video, I suggest you go watch it, because you'll learn a lot more about the chassis through watching it than through watching this, because this is more like a continuance of what I already had. So, you know, stay, darn it. Okay, oh well. Anyway, so that's that. So it's not terribly hard to replace stuff like gears and things in there. It's just it's a hassle still, but it's not as terrible as it could be. So then you just push those back in, and this is why it didn't close so well. It's because I forgot to click this little thing back in here, so I'm gonna have to go modify a bunch of this junk just so it'll fit in there, just because that's how massive this stupid thing is. But anyway, those back inward. Oh, actually, no, I can't yet. See, now this is the thing that's so hard about building with Legos and trying to make them robust and stuff, because there's not a lot of room for detailed adjustment. So when it comes to fixing things up in a certain way, like this, where you need alignment, you really don't have any option for doing that. You just don't get to do any alignment stuff. But anyway, yeah, so these are new too. These little things here, that they weren't there before, but they hold the portals as closely as possible to the center of the vehicle in order to prevent any alignment issues, which is stupid because there's still a lot of alignment issues. But without them, the alignment issues would be catastrophic, I think. That's a pretty epic word for that, but that, for the most part, that is the case. Anyway, then you gotta rotate that back up, and then you gotta get this whole hassle again. Gotta slide that in, put this back on, and then you have to slide the axles through that, the lower part in, and then that, and then that'll hold that all together. So, holy crap, that's a lot, I know. Incredible. Still dual XL drive, so that's cool. The, let's see, this here is new. It's just there to hold things in place, and like I said, this thing is huge, so it's hard to do stuff with it. But anyway, this is the back of it. You can see it's got this turntable, and I'll show you why in a minute. Or I'll show you the temporary reason why. I can't really show you the permanent reason, but yeah. Anyway, and I also can't really show you a lot about this. This is pitiful for me because I've taken 10 minutes of your time, and all I've been able to show you is like the drive and the battery, and that sucks. So anyway, this is the attachment place. You can plug various things in there. You already knew that that was going to be there, so I might as well show you what's intended to be there now. It is... wait for it. Wait for it. I guess you don't really have to wait for it, but this is just a temporary thing. So, shovel. Good gravy. I'm just realizing how big this thing really is. Whoa. So there we go. Pretty huge. Pretty crazy. So, you know, headlights are still there. They don't really push anything out of the way. This here is the control for it. This one is the winch, this one is the drive, this one is the steering, obviously. Yeah, so that's cool. Well, it's landing on top of that pad there, but it would be flat on the ground for the most part. And also incredibly robust. Uses a very large gear for the worm gear concept. You'll see it's got a label here. It says TECHNIC with the little Lego symbol ahead of it, or in front of it, or however you'd like to say that. Made out of a bunch of red plates, just because my accessories, the plan is that they're all going to be red. Little pin on top here. Pull that out, and this is in the way here. Alright. So that's how you take that off. Very robust. There's like, it doesn't fold or anything. You really can't push these very far. It's got a lot of stuff that prevents it from being able to push, you know, too badly, which is good, of course. If you're interested in looking into the gear ratio that is used here for the worm gear, I would suggest checking out Serial.pl. I've referenced him a lot. SARIEL.pl. As in period. Yeah, you all know what that means. So he has a lot of awesome worm gear ratios and stuff. You can see on top of this, got this little roof rack sort of cage thing. Works nicely as a place to keep the remote, but the original design was simply put there because it was helpful to the roof's construction, which is very, very ridiculously complex. In fact, to show you, I can actually take this chassis thing off, and I'll show you the whole vehicle, like profile and everything. So this is, see, this is just massive. So that's about where the chassis ends as of now. You can see it's got this kind of arc-shaped thing, and I went with arc-shaped instead of straight arms because, you know, the arc is like nature's strength, you know. You look in the real world, not that you live in any other world, but just look in the real world and you'll see a lot of stuff like that, you know. The arc is used for strength. It's the best way to do things, so that's what I did here as well. I tried to use an arc concept, just circular sort of thing. This is the view of the back, as you already saw. You can see this little compartment thingy here, and I'll show you what that does. But in order to do that, I have to turn it on first. So that's, you know, it's not quite realistic, but it's better than it was. I don't know if I ever showed you guys this, probably not, but I really don't remember exactly what was in the original. It's an engine, little thing, fake, obviously, but it's constantly moving. And similar to a real engine, it's constantly moving. Even when the vehicle's wheels are not moving, the motor, or engine rather, is. So the pistons are always pumping. But in order to conserve power, I have a switch in the cab that turns them off so that I can actually use the vehicle for, you know, a while without the battery falling in, like, defeat, or whatever you'd like to call it. But anyway, moving along here. This arc shape comes off of its pins on the back. And then, after that, you have to pull out this assembly with the headlights on it. You can see it rises all the way out of there, and you just push it in the cab for a minute. Let's see, there we go. And then you can lift the front of the cab, and then you have to push the cab forward off of the pins that hold it in place regularly, or would be regularly, whatever you'd like to call it, and then off it comes. Voila! And there's the chassis, which I'll show you in a sec, or a minute, or whatever. Not going to be terribly technical. So this is the cab. As you can see, the cage, the arc kind of cage thing comes off as well. That just makes it easier. The roof, solid-ish thing. Of course, it's hollow to make room for all that awesome stuff. Got some good stuff here holding it together for strength and whatnot. I don't know why I used this arc looking, or not arc, I guess, angular look in the back. It just looked kind of neat. I don't exactly know why I went with yellow, but yellow was just convenient for me, so I decided to do that. Fake lights on top and all that good stuff. You can see the frame. It's black and gray here, here, and this little thing holds an axle. I'll show you that axle. It's this axle right here. It holds that, and then when you want to turn it on, just push this forward and click, click, and that'll turn it on or off, and when it's on, the green light will be on. You can kind of see the little tint there. So, yeah. So it's the 8878 rechargeable battery. So nice and easy. All I have to do is just take that cap off real quick, which probably isn't really that quick, but push that, turns it on. You can see the little light there. It's on. I guess you can't with my finger in the way, but it's right there, pointing to it. It's off. On. Off. Just flip this upside down with the cab off and then plug it in, and that'll give it a charge. I don't really know how long it takes to charge, but anyway, front switch right here turns on the headlights. It is actually a switch, unlike my 8x8, or not actually an 8x8. It was an 8x4, I think. It's 8 wheels, 4-wheel drive, 4-wheel steer. So 8x8, 4x4, or something like that, I guess it would be. This second one back here, wow, that's a really neat trick. Anyway, it's right there. It's right behind it. For a minute there, it looked like I was grabbing the same one, but it's actually not the same one. And this one is the one that operates the little motor and the fake engine in the back there. So turn that, starts it. Turn it either way, it'll work. So yeah, it's very well held in there because, of course, you don't want it moving around a lot because that'll create problems. So in order to make room for this engine, I had to move a lot of things around. In the original prototype, the battery pack was actually in here, and this was before I put any of these sides on it or anything like that. And but yeah, so that was that. And it's quite interesting, really, but in order to make room for it, I had to move a lot of stuff around. So this is actually the accessory motor. So when I want to use the accessory, which is going to be, as you can see, right, get out of the way, right there, see the axle there, spins. I had to move the motor, which was on the inside of this back, like, casing thing. I had to move that into the cab, so now it is located there, which is actually a really good thing because it allowed me to gear it down to about a drive speed 6 and the end result 1. I don't really know exactly what that means, but anyway, so that's now the driving motor for it. The winch motor, however, is in the same location, and yeah, so, if you haven't seen it, watch the original video and you'll see what I mean about all that stuff. So yeah, let's see. I'm getting all tangled up with my own wires here. So just put that there for now. And actually, this would be on the front right there. And then this, push into it. Cab mounts right there. That holds it in nicely. So I showed you the back end already. The insides of it anyway. And let me just show you the weird part here. Now this is for people that hate people that misuse Legos. I don't know if you call this misusing, but I don't have quite the right stuff to I can't pull this thing out, but I want to show you what's inside of here so that I can, so in order to do that, I have to pull this out, so gotta bite it and do that. It just happens to work. This is just a little random piece of the frame. I like to keep kind of a, perimeter appearance. Then you have to pop this thing off and this thing off. You can kind of see it already. If you look right through there, you kind of see stuff in there, but not very well. So, yeah, still 2 receivers, obviously. No more than that. I didn't need more than that. Pull this little pin out. That holds the motor in place. Oh boy, here comes the interesting part. Alright, now this is going to be really weird, but you can see here, I have to remove all that. I have to pull it out. And I have to detach all of this stuff here, and all of this plated junk, if you will, lifts up and pulls back, just like that. And voila, the engine and its operating stuff. The motor uses a clutch gear. I'm using a clutch gear because I ran out of normal gears. So, you know that you're building something more than you can handle when it requires parts that you do not have. So, and that's not actually the only part that I don't have. That is a very significant one, though. So anyway, now that I've got that thing out, just unplug it from the switch real quick. Just like that. So, move that out of the way. Voila, here it is. This is the little hole thing for the receiver. This hole's not even supposed to be there, neither is that one, but I just ran out of parts to block that empty little space. This here just holds this whole thing up so that the gears on this don't hit the drive gears, or the steering gears, rather. So, if I bring this over here, and I turn it sideways, you can see things in it, of course. And what you'll see in it is the steering gear stuff, which is ridiculous. It used to use a worm gear, and then it went from that worm gear up in there using universal gears. Or not gears, really, universal joints. And that became an incredibly harsh issue because universal joints snap like craziness when you put that much torque through them. So I had to remove those in order to eliminate torque. Not eliminate torque, eliminate breakage, because I broke a gear. Crap, I keep saying gear. I broke a joint and I didn't want it to stay broken. So, wow, look at this. Sorry at like 23 minutes. Sorry if I'm boring the crap out of you, but yeah. I had to use an extension cord in order to fit all the wires that are in this little bay up through there into the battery. So you can see all that there, quite obviously, I think. So yeah, crazy gear. I have no idea what the ratio on that is, but I had already put this whole casing on it together. The motor and everything, all the engine, all that stuff, and the receivers and everything were in place. But then along came a problem. Universal joint broke, so I had to remove the whole thing, which at the time wasn't as easy, but I've made it more easy for good reason, and it's still not very easy. It's still quite complicated, but it's easier than it was. So anyway, that's the new stuff. So you can see that this here has changed a lot, because it used to go pretty much directly out to here, somewhere around there, with universal joints as well. So I had to work on getting gears in there, so now it comes out and it hits one of those weird joint things that you're probably not going to be able to see, but if you can, you'll recognize it. And then that's a 1-to-1 inside of there, and then a 1-to-3 inside of there, like, right there to there, 1-to-3. And then over to here, 1-to-3, so it's 1-to-6, I guess, or something like that in there, whatever. I really, like I said, I have no clue exactly where it is, because I've been assembling the thing, and I haven't been keeping track of the gears I've been using, just because it's a freaking hassle. But anyway, this is a very well-constructed thing here. It won't allow for much slippage at all, which is good, because slippage is deadly, for the most part, in this. So, I am ranting again, as I always do, but that is what I do, so forgive me. Anyway, plug in the engine deal right there, and drop this back in, and man, you have no idea how hilarious this is. This is ridiculous complex. it's not supposed to be. It's just, you know, when you want stuff to work well, you have to assemble it in such a way that it doesn't, you know, disassemble itself in like normal driving situation. So yeah, I did more than a good job at that. I did a freaking brilliant job at that. In fact, here's the problem though. With the real world, when you do stuff like this, where you build things, you build them in such a way that you can disassemble them easily enough. That way you can perform manual repairs and such. I, however, didn't do that. This is more easy than a lot of people's stuff, though, believe me. I've seen some people that had no access to the inside. They'd put it together. If they needed to repair it, too bad. No chance. Couldn't do it. It wouldn't open at all. And really the only way to open it would have been to completely disassemble it. And I really don't want to be that kind of person that just requires assembly often and repairs often. So I attempted to make this as efficient and simple as I possibly could. And it's still not. So I apologize for how long this video is taking. But hey, besides, you could just fast forward your way through this to the interesting parts. I'm sure that's what people do anyway, just skim the videos for whatever they want, and then leave. Go find another video. Come on now. Alright, now, this is getting really weird. Alright, anyway, there it is. Yeah, so, holy crap. This is just... Put the engine cover back on there. So, holy goodness. So, yeah, that's all that. And then this is, yeah, so pretty much the same stuff. All the fenders and stuff. Pretty nice angle match up there. You know, it's all pretty good looking, I think. Pretty cool. So, now that I'm done with showing you what's inside, or rather what's new on the skeleton of it, I guess you could call it, I'll go ahead and put this back on, and you're not gonna believe this. This is a freaking crazy stunt too. All of this to reassemble this thing is just a total stunt. Not really, but it is a hassle. You know, especially seeing as it's something as simple as the cab. But believe me, it'll help. In the end, it helps because you don't want your motors and stuff busted up. So you want to save them. You want to keep them safe. So you have to take drastic measures if you're going to do stuff like that. And I certainly do not want busted motors. So I have to be very, very careful and safe with my stuff here because I don't have a lot of money for replacement parts. So, yeah. Okay, there's that. And then, gotta shove all this light gear back in there. Pop in that little black dealie. You know, I'm sorry that I don't know the names of these parts, but I mean, come on, man. When you're building stuff, you don't think, okay, this is the part I need, this is the part I need. And if you do, you don't think of its name, you think of what it looks like, because that's what you're building. You don't build Legos by saying, I need a piece of this size, this shape, blah, blah, blah. No, that's a waste of your time. So if you're that kind of person, I'm sorry, because that doesn't work well for me, so I can't imagine it would work well for anybody else. Come on now. Here we go. Just make sure everything still works. That's the winch check. That'd be the accessory thing. Don't know if you can see it, but I can see it, so that's good enough. Drive still works. Steering still works and is still slow. Alright, so here we are approaching 29 minutes. And this is all I've shown you. Oh, crap. Forgot to plug my pins back in. And there we go. Awesome stuff there. Make sure that arc is in good health. Still only rear suspension, pendular, of course. But it is not done yet, so fret not. So the cage only goes this far, but my plans after this, and this became a problem actually, I needed more wheels. Or not necessarily needed, I wanted more wheels. But anyway, so this here will connect to another axle piece that's pretty much identical to this whole thing, this whole pendular assembly, except it's going to be able to pivot all by itself, and then it will pivot on this. So this, when this pivots, that'll pivot it, and then you know, all that good stuff. And I will show you how I plan to do that in a minute. But look at that, we're already approaching 30 minutes. I'm going crazy here. I must be terribly boring. I realize that. Believe me, I do. So that's all that. It's awesome. Oh, and actually, you'll see there's a trailer, and I'll show you what's special about that. But for the time being, let's take a wheel off. Squeeze, squeeze. Very, very solid. And I can show you why. It's very, very easy. Actually, that's not true. It's not very easy, but I'm gonna do it anyway just because it's good. So, in the previous video, for those of you that watched it, which by now you probably should have opened another tab and watched it first, but if you didn't, so be it. It's got 7 miniature tires inside, which provide an incredible amount of grip for the rim and the tire. You can see them in there. They're the larger of them, obviously. Quite nice. They provide an incredible amount of grip to the hub, and they make the whole thing a lot more solid, but really more of it was for the grip. So, you got all those in there, and you cram this back in there. And then, this is the hard part, squeezing all of them into the right place, so that around this tire, you can still get your stuff to fit into the little ledge deal, the little, I don't know what you want to call it, canyon, miniature canyon inside of it for all your stuff. And this, actually, is a bit of a problem. Those there are the inner portions of the wheels that came with my crane truck. So that's where I got these. They work quite nicely, they're very strong. They don't allow a lot of slippage on the axle itself. So, you know, quite interesting. And actually, this is the hard part, getting that last side up properly. Come on now, where is the key? And it is a literal key that I'm looking for, because I just need something that'll open, like pull these up. Anyway, pop a car key in there and pull that rubber out all the way around if I can. Good enough for that side. There are 7 of those small tires. I don't know if I said that or not. I should probably edit these videos, but I don't, because I am a lazy American. And if you're foreign, you're gonna say that's typical, but of course, you already know it is, so don't bother. So yeah, very, very stiff tire. I only did that in the back wheels though, because in the front, I wanted a little bit of leeway for my steering to be able to work without doing terrible things. So, yeah, that was what that was for. So, yeah, the back axle has less width than the front axle, just so you know. That's just because it provides better strength for the vehicle. But, yeah, you know, quite interesting. So, that's all that stuff. Pretty awesome. You can see the 4-wheel drive does have an output right in there. You can see it turning in there. Maybe you can't. I don't know. I'm looking at the screen and I can see it, but I don't know how the resolution is going to come out on YouTube. So, look at this. 34 minutes approaching, and I am still showing you just tidbits of this thing, because it's not done yet. Anyway, as I've said before. So, this is a trailer. Right here. Here's what it looks like. Crap. Holding it by the wrong stuff. There it is. Nice big wheels, and you can see gears. Those are smaller wheels because I don't have any of the bigger ones, or any more of them. And you can see portals, and you can see a center axle, and all that awesome stuff. So, that's because this is also driven. Right here. Doesn't have a very long tongue, though. But anyway. Universal joint. This is the only universal joint in this thing that is of this genre. This is the only standard universal joint I have used in the entire build. Is the ones that are featured right here and right there. Actually, I was just pointing to it and I didn't even realize it. But right there. And so the idea for the thing about it not being done is that it is supposed to be a 6-wheel drive, and it's dual rear axles. And the reason for that is because I'm considering making an incredibly large trailer that's much bigger than this. But yeah, you can see the gear in there that drives it. Got a very thin plate that protects it. So yeah, then see, it's got these whole thing. But you know what? Screw it. I'm trying to do more of explaining than I can all at once. Anyway, the idea is that the final axle, I'm going to disassemble this trailer right here, and I'm going to use the portals and the entire rear axle and the entire drive system, and I'm just going to take all these things out here, and it's going to go directly from here, this little frame piece, into here, and then that way it will give it upward as well as tilt. But because this is a trailer, I have to add this front part here, which allows it to turn. So if I were to plug that in, which, my goodness, see, that's why I don't like standard universal joints. They're so darn weak. I can't even hold on to an axle. Now this is going to be weird. I don't actually know that I can do this. Well, I can. I've done it before. It's just hard because there's not a lot of space to work with. Come on now. There we go. And so now that I've got that plugged in, I'm going to rotate this around and plug in my frictionless axle things, whatever they are. I don't know what they're called exactly. I use LVD a lot, believe me. So yeah. Yo, as if it wasn't big enough, I just had to get a trailer for it. So I did, and monstrous thing this is. So that's it. Now, the idea of the trailer is that it be capable. Yeah, that technically that's proper English, but it's not realistic English. Anyway, the idea of having drive is that if I'm ever backing up and I need to go over an obstacle, such as that pillow, it will do that. So it is driven. I don't know if you can see from that distance, the little triad deal in the back of it is moving. So let's move this all forward and show you in even closer stupidness. Come on now. I had too much cord on my camera. Anyway. Driven. For a good reason. Like I said, need to go out like over an obstacle? Not a problem. Still got a terribly poor turning radius. That's because I had to custom build my portals. But it does work. So, you know, that, and that. You know, left and right, of course, are required for a trailer, and then the just total thing. But yeah, so the reason that I couldn't use a full system, back it up, for my 6-wheel drive is because I don't have 6 of these wheels, and actually I don't want 6 of these wheels. What I'm looking for is 6 Unimog wheels from the new set. I actually don't remember the part number of those wheels, but it's from the 8110 LEGO Technic Unimog flagship set from, what was it, 2011, I think, or 2012. Well, now it's 2012, and he got it for Christmas, so I'm going to assume it was a 2011 flagship. I really should know that, but because I don't own it, I can't say. But anyway, so, you know, I'm planning to get 6 of the Unimog wheels because they have that nice square edge, you know, they don't bubble like these do. These are all rounded tires, and that really is a problem with the front wheels because they're not aligned well. So the alignment on them just gives them the complete right to just like, I can't even demonstrate this. It's like that. You know, they should be straight up and down, but having the bubble tires makes them prone to doing sliding. And I don't want that. So I'm trying to get those ones that are nice and flat on the bottom, because those ones are prone to not doing that, or they're rather not prone to doing that. And so that's what I'm looking for. I don't know where I can get them for cheap, because it's like $5 for the tire alone, and it's $5 for one tire. So not looking forward to paying that much for a tire. I mean, I can buy a set of 4 tires for my professional grade RC car, and it'll cost me less than that. And speaking of which, for those of you that have any interest, which odds are you won't, because you're watching the Lego video anyway, I do have aluminum upgrades on my car now. I've started doing that. So far, all I have is a heat sink with a fan on it, and that's not installed yet. I have the tie rods and turnbuckles. Those are installed, and I have the swing arms, front and rear, installed, and I'm looking to get a few more titanium parts. So hopefully I can do that soon. So that'll be cool. Excuse me, I've got someone staring at me through the door. Well, would you leave for a moment? Thank you. Alright, sorry for the interruption. It's just, you know, I'm hogging this room. So I'll have to end this video. Thankfully for you, it's like 4 minutes shorter than the old one. Not that you made it through this one, but if you did, congratulations. Because this is probably the longest one I've ever made next to the previous. So, this is the extremely efficient 4x4. This is not complete. It is going to be an extremely efficient 6x6. But it's not yet. So, patience is a virtue. Embrace it. To all that succeeded in finishing this video, congratulations, good for you, and all that. Feel free to take the concepts that I've used in this. I've gained a lot of them from various people. Having miniature tires inside of the larger tires comes from ZBLJ1987, I believe is his tag on YouTube. I do not know what otherwise he is known as. So, you know, I thank that guy for his awesome concepts. So that really helps with the grip for the rear wheels, so I'd like to thank ZBLJ for that. I would like to thank ZBLJ for the idea of using portals. I watched his trial truck video tips, and after watching that, suddenly this thing has become as it is. I suggest you watch the series of trial truck tips.